Yeah, so I met Michael actually through one of my great friends, Derek Waltz. He's a chief revenue officer of Replace Your Mortgage, Replace Your University. And I met Derek years ago through church, actually. And, you get to know somebody. What do? You share all that type of stuff. And I owned a house at the time, and Derek was telling me not only what he did, but how it could benefit me. And I kind of heard some of the content, and I was like, I don't know if I could trust it. I was still learning Derek. I didn't really know if it was too good to be true or not, to be honest. So I didn't ask questions. I didn't press into it. I kind of just left it on the back burner. It took me definitely some time to keep hearing what it is that they were doing and just kind of continual learning. And you're just growing in friendship with somebody, and you just learn more about their life, and you see, okay, well, actually, maybe this is legit, right? But before I had that kind of aha moment, unfortunately, I did things the traditional way, because that's all I knew. I sold my home, and I took the money that I made off of that house, and I said, you know what, market, I'm not really sure. I'm going to sell. I'm going to go back into renting mode. I'm going to have a little nest egg. I'll pay off some debts. And I've done the math on that. And I look back at that moment when I made that decision, that was 6 figures in the wrong direction of a choice. Instead of what it could have been if I had the strategy in place, if I was using it, right, and kept that home, oh my gosh, it would have been so different. Now it's okay. Money you can lose and you can make. So, I made a choice and I had to come to terms with that, and that's all good. But what was great was in learning after that, I not only realized this was legit and true, but I saw the value in it, right? And so when I came on board and I got to go through all the education and all the content, my brain was on fire. Like when I tell you I felt my brain rewire. And I tell this to my sales team all the time is, most people, everybody knows where they are. Most people know where they want to go, but very few people tangibly know actually how to get there. And so when I was going through that content, going through the education, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a bridge to where I want to go. And from that moment, I started thinking 5-10 years into the future in ways that were like, because I didn't have language, I didn't have the information prior to even think that way, to even have the constructs to be able to plan effectively in those ways, right? So coming on to the team, obviously at this point, I'm a huge believer in the product. And me and my wife, we were just getting married. We were, figuring things out, and got engaged, got married. And then we worked really hard to put ourselves into, because we weren't qualified at that time when I started working for Replace Your Mortgage. So it took us some time to get into a qualifying position. And as soon as we were able to, we bought our first home. And we used a very basic line of credit. It was very small. It was like $7,000 to $10,000 we were using it at a time. And doing it the way Replace Your Mortgage teaches, over a year and a half, all I do is look at my amortization schedule and all of the payments and all of the savings that we made, and I just tallied it up. We've saved over $160,000 in just a year and a half of using a basic, very small line of credit. And okay, well, where would we be had I done it the traditional way again? So if I was my old mindset, where would we be in this process? It would have taken us 6 to 7 years doing it the traditional way had I not had this strategy and plan in place. So I've kind of lived the tale of two cities. I made a decision over here in traditional, and now over here I have education. I made the decision in a different mindset, a changed mindset, and the results are staggeringly different. So met Michael after coming on board here, and got to learn from him directly as well, which is obviously such an added benefit. And then not only that, but learning him as a person and knowing he is a man of character, a man of God, a man of integrity, and seeing how he puts his heart into this business. Look, man, I've worked in marketing, I've worked in sales, I've also worked in the church, and I loved all those opportunities, but I've never been more passionate about what I put my hands to than working for Replace Your Mortgage, because of the integrity of the people, the leadership, and the integrity of this offer and what it provides people. Super powerful. Oh my gosh. Finances money is a tool. This is what I tell people when I have the opportunity to speak to clients on our live events and stuff like that. I tell them, hey, we actually don't care about paying off your home. We don't actually care about helping you save. On average, our clients are positioned to save about $170,000. We don't care about you being positioned to pay off your home in 5 to 7 years. We care about what's underneath that, the God dream, what was placed in your heart, right? Like, what if you could achieve those things? Great, but what does that allow you to actually do, right? How does that allow you to give back to people? And one of my favorite God dreams that I've heard actually came from a guy on our team. He said that him and his wife have a burden for foster kids once they come out of foster care. Because when they're in foster care, they have a mom and dad, but when they turn 18 and they leave the house, they don't have parents. And talk about God's eyes, God's heart. To see and to have that type of love for a stranger who, once they leave and once they're out of the foster care system, who is their parental support? Who's their family? And to help somebody get debt-free, to pay off their home, to pay off their consumer debts and all that type of stuff in a way that they can go and chase after that more effectively, that's what we care about. And so being able to see the spiritual transformation and I think of the Israelites, breaking the chains, leaving Egypt, like, don't go back. Yeah. Leave and move on to the promised land, man, because that's what God put in your heart. That's what he's calling us to, right? So those God dreams, man, it's so gratifying.